Hey guys, it's Jess from Madden Crafts. Sometimes you finish a project and it's just so stinking cute you can't handle it, and that is the project I'm sharing with you today. I'm going to show you how to make an adorable narwhal mason jar in about 15 minutes. First, you're going to need to get some white polymer clay and condition it with your hands. If you have a fancy clay conditioner machine, you can use that. Otherwise, you can just warm it up by rubbing it between your hands until it's soft and pliable. Then you're going to take that small amount of clay and separate it into 4 parts. You need 1 tiny amount of clay for the narwhal's horn, 2 medium-sized amounts of clay for the 2 side flippers, and then a larger amount of clay that will shape into the narwhal's tail. Start with that smallest amount of clay and roll it back and forth in your hands like you're making a Play-Doh snake. You just want to make sure that one end is more tapered than the other because this is going to be the narwhal's horn, so you want it to be kind of horn-shaped. Next, take the 2 medium-sized balls of clay and make a rounded teardrop shape. And remember when you're making these to kind of have the proportion of your jar in mind. So you don't want to make super tiny flippers or a giant horn as compared to the shape of your mason jar. So kind of keep that in mind as you're forming the different pieces. So after you have the 2 flippers formed, then you want to take the last piece of clay, flatten it out, and shape it into sort of a modified heart shape, and that's going to be the narwhal's tail. If your clay pieces are 1/4 of an inch thick or thinner, bake them in a 275-degree oven for 15 minutes. Take them out of the oven and let them cool completely. If they're thicker than that, you'll have to refer to your package directions. While your clay pieces are baking in the oven, you can get to painting your jar. Choose to paint the body of the jar with a light blue or a gray, or in my case, a light bluish gray, because that's sort of the color that baby narwhals are. Cover the jar completely in 1 or 2 coats, depending on how opaque your paint is, and let that dry. You can speed up the dry time with the cool setting on a hair dryer if you're impatient like I am. Set the jar off to the side to dry and take a light gray paint color and paint the ring of the jar lid. Narwhals are a different color on their belly than they are on the top of their body, and the jar ring and the very bottom of the jar are going to be kind of our narwhal's belly. So we want that to be a lighter color than the top of the body. Once the jar and the ring are dry enough to handle, go ahead and put the ring on the jar. You can put the insert in the jar lid on as well. I just didn't for some reason. Once you have the ring back on the jar, take a little bit of that light gray paint and add a little bit of detail around the top of the ring to make it look more like a rounded belly on the narwhal. Once you've taken your clay pieces out of the oven and given them plenty of time to cool, you want to take the same light blue or grayish blue paint that you used on the jar to paint and cover them. You may need more than 1 coat depending on how porous your clay is. This step is totally optional, but I decided to use some iridescent glitter paint on my narwhal horn. Of course, real narwhals don't have glittery horns, but this isn't a real narwhal, is it? Once the paint has dried on the clay, it's time to attach them to the jar. You're going to put 1 flipper on each side of the mason jar. Make sure you hold it for a second so the glue has time to set before handling the jar or moving it to the other side. And then you're going to add the horn to the top forehead on the front of the jar. All that's left to do is paint a sweet little face on your narwhal with some black and pink craft paint. Just 2 little dots, a small U for the mouth, and some cheeks are all you need to add tons of personality to your narwhal mason jar. I have a few other videos showing how to paint mason jars to look like cute animals, and I will link them all in the description box below. Give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new today. Subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. Visit me on my blog, maddencrafts.com, and thanks so much for watching. Bye!